everybody. Good morning. Welcome to the Joy of Trucking. Today is September 27th, 2021. And the last few days, we've been hearing about the trucker strike. And end of August, there was also a lot of talk about a trucker strike. And I went online after, and there really were no reports on it. So I'm not sure how it's going to go today. They have published a few locations of where there were supposed to be slowdowns or, trucks stopping to block traffic. We haven't encountered it here in Oklahoma yet, and there are lots of trucks on the road, so not sure what kind of effect that will have. And I also think it's kind of strange because, it talks about trucker strike, but it's a very particular issue, not sort of industry-wide trucker issues. It's particularly having to do with the mandate of President Biden for companies over 100 employees to have a mandated vaccine or an employee showing a COVID test, a negative COVID test, obviously, once a week. So there are people who are against that, and they happen to be truckers, some of them, and so they are organizing truckers to try and bring attention to that. Now, I think that, there are a lot of different companies all over this country, and I think it's a company-specific situation, because I think there's a lot of companies, a lot of truckers, they don't work for companies of 100 or more. And maybe, people need to check in with their companies to see if their companies are actually going to follow that mandate. In the meantime, I think it's a little awkward to call it trucker strikes because it's just a percent of truckers, and it's not necessarily something that all truckers are, willing to participate in strikes or slowdowns for something like that. Especially, actually, the big company drivers, probably a little complicated to, take the company truck and participate in something like that. I mean, they could maybe do the slowdown. Anyway, so it's an interesting topic. Interesting to see what will happen with it. What's important is if that mandate is out there, that they find ways for truckers to be able to comply with something like that if they do work for a company of over 100 that decides to follow that mandate. Then if you don't want to get vaccinated, then you have the option of showing a negative COVID test once a week. And that, of course, is very difficult for truckers because truckers are always on the road. So Kevin and I were talking about it, and when he was working at Amazon, right at the beginning of the pandemic, Amazon actually built a lab specifically so that they could test people that worked for Amazon. So they had mandated testing, once every 2 weeks. They did the little nasal swab, and then it got sent off to the lab, and Amazon organized all that, made it easy for them, paid for it, and that's how they managed to get their employees to do their testing. So if that is, something, it is part of this mandate. So if you don't want to get vaccinated, then you need to show this test. Well, then there should be a way that, it's organized for truckers to be able to do that. So Kevin and I were talking, as I said, we were like, well, maybe one of the truck stop chains can become a testing site, or maybe, it's a government thing. Maybe the weigh stations could provide an opportunity for truckers to pull over, because you're not going to get trucks going into the city pulling up at the local CVS and then finding a place, do their own, because you can get home tests, but then you have to find a place to mail them and all of that. So that would be very difficult for truckers. So I think if there is that mandate in place and a company decides to follow that mandate, that there should be a way that they actually figure out how truckers could do something like that. So again, from my opinion, I think that it's just being called a trucker strike is kind of a a misnomer and a little misleading, because it's not a strike for all the other issues that truckers are facing. Like one that we find very important is not enough places for truckers to stop. We think it's very, very important for truckers to have safe havens, and we see way too many trucks not having a place to safely pull over when they have to take their breaks. So you see them lining, the on-ramps, the off-ramps, sometimes even on the sides of the highway, and that is a definite issue that faces all truckers, no matter their political leanings or their opinion on vaccines. So I think it is a little weird to call it a trucker strike all over the internet. It's a particular group of truckers, just like there are groups of, other kind of employees around the country. So that is our opinion on that, or at least my opinion on that. And I just thought I would share that with you. And thanks for watching. We hope you have a wonderful day, and give it a thumbs up. You can put your comments and questions below. Please keep them respectful. And hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. With love from Tanya and Kevin. Bye.